Straight ahead on 12 News, an alternative form of prenatal care. We head to North Memorial for a look at the hospital's Midwife program. Plus, a reason to celebrate at North Hennepin. This reason involves expected future job demands. But first, airstrikes underway in Syria. We have reaction from local congressional leaders. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone. The United States and 5 Arab countries have begun launching major airstrikes in Syria.
The bombings are aimed at stopping ISIS and other terrorist groups. Reporter Sonia Goins has reaction from congressional leaders who represent the Northwest Metro.
Right. There is mixed reaction from the airstrikes. Although all of our congressional leaders agree ISIS must be stopped, not everyone is on board with the airstrikes. ISIS has drawn recruits from all over the world, including at least 2 from the Northwest Metro. Dozens of missiles were fired at terrorist hotspots in Syria late Monday night.
I think that the airstrikes are very important. We've seen them effective in other ways.
Those missiles were aimed at the city of Raqqa, where 1 American and 1 British hostage were executed by ISIS.
I'm generally supportive of the action the president's taking.
The first American to die fighting for them was from our state. And so that is an example of why this matters to us.
Senator Amy Klobuchar is talking about 33-year-old Douglas McCain, a native of New Hope. The State Department says he was killed in August while fighting alongside ISIS.
My message to young people who might get caught up in some sort of a romantic notion that these people are about something is that the only thing that you're going to get by associating with them is death or massive and long-term incarceration.
McCain isn't the only person with local ties linked to a terrorist group. Troy Castigar died in 2009 while fighting for al-Shabaab.
I just think of them as a bunch of criminal terrorists.
Both Castigar and McCain went to Cooper High School and were close friends.
This is a problem, and we cannot let an evil organization like this that's recruiting the world over to keep going, and that's why the airstrikes are the right way to go.
Now, Republican Congressman Eric Paulson has not released a statement on the recent airstrikes. However, he did vote yes on an amendment to equip and train elements of the Syrian opposition to fight ISIS. Mike and Alex, the Pentagon says the bombings were a success, but no word on casualties yet.
All right. Thank you very much. Firefighters this afternoon responded to a house fire in Maple Grove. Chief Scott Anderson says the fire started in a greenhouse area in the backyard and quickly spread to the home's back wall and roof. No one was home at the time of the fire and no one was injured. Crews are still investigating what started the fire.
A guilty plea and life sentence for a murder in Brooklyn Park. Alberto Palmer admitted in court Monday to killing a 24-year-old woman he had met through a website used for prostitution. Clarissa Cook was found dead in the trunk of a car that had been towed away from a Brooklyn Park grocery store. Palmer also faces sentencing next month for a similar murder involving 18-year-old Brittany Clardy of St. Paul. Clardy's mother spoke at Palmer's sentencing for Cook's murder, saying, quote, "Our children are not property to be bought, sold, abused, and killed."
Brooklyn Park has joined Brooklyn Center in approving a housing complaint against the Metropolitan Council, but not before several community members argued against it.
I would ask that we push the pause button, engage the community, evaluate the data, and make strategic decisions, and listen to those of us who live in this community.
The complaint argues that certain cities have provided their fair share of affordable housing and that it's too heavily concentrated in inner-ring suburbs. Several residents voiced concern that the Brooklyn Park City Council was making decisions that affect minority residents without talking to them first.
We're sitting here tonight discussing, deciding, and making decisions about 51% of the people who don't look like you. 51% of the people who don't have the same access, privilege, and opportunities as you. And my question to you is, how well have you spoken with these people?
Brooklyn Park Council did unanimously approve filing the complaint. The federal government will now determine whether it has merit.
A new assisted living and memory care facility is being proposed in Golden Valley. Next month, the Golden Valley City Council will consider final approval of a 3-story building east of City Hall. The Travilla proposal would expand and renovate an existing senior living facility that's currently vacant. Golden Valley Planning Commissioners expressed excitement about having a proposal like this come forward. And the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed in New Hope. The city approved a final development agreement with Hy-Vee. The Iowa-based grocer will buy the former Kmart site from the city for $3.7 million. This is Hy-Vee's first store in the Twin Cities. In addition to groceries, it will include a restaurant, coffee shop, liquor store, and gas station. The store is expected to open next fall and bring 400 to 500 jobs to New Hope.
North Hennepin Community College rolled out the red carpet to celebrate the grand opening of its Bioscience and Health Careers Center. Tours of the $26 million facility highlighted how it will be used to train the next generation of nurses and scientists. It's estimated by 2018, Minnesota will have more than 300,000 jobs in the health science field.
You'll see high-tech simulation centers, so it's really state-of-the-art technology that's training them to be prepared for today's jobs and those in the future.
The 65,000 square foot facility has been 10 years in the making. A big change in Jeff Johnson's campaign for governor. The Plymouth Republican has hired a new campaign manager, a face you may recognize. Former State Senator David Gaither, also of Plymouth, will take over to lead Johnson's campaign. Gaither previously served for a year as chief of staff for former Republican Governor Tim Pawlenty. Coming up next in Health Check, an inside look at North Memorial's Midwife program.
And then a little bit later in sports, the Hopkins volleyball team celebrates a big tournament win. We'll have your highlights.
But first, some possible showers Wednesday, but nothing severe. Don't be alarmed if you see emergency crews working in the old Kmart parking lot in New Hope. It's all for television. Committee Films, a Chaska-based production company, is working on a segment for ABC News that will air in 2015. New Hope was able to rent out the property for filming prior to the sale of the land to Hy-Vee. Production crews plan to be there for the next 3 days. Women face many tough choices when they're preparing to give birth, and one of them whether to use a doctor or a midwife.
In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland looks at North Memorial's Midwife program and what women can expect if they choose to go that route.
Teresa Bremer and her husband are parents to a 1-year-old son, but bringing him into this world was difficult. Teresa wound up with an unwanted cesarean section birth.
You know, I didn't get to see my son be born. I don't have pictures of his birth, and I don't really remember the first few hours of his life because they had so many drugs in my body.
In a few months, the couple will have a second child, and Teresa would prefer not to have to go through a C-section again.
I've been kind of trying to look into my options for VBAC, and you know, midwives tend to be a little bit more on board with that sort of thing.
That's why they made their way to North Memorial to learn more about the hospital's midwifery program.
We're a brand new service of currently 3 midwives offering full spectrum midwifery care.
Bridget Mestel is one of the 3 midwives at North Memorial.
I became a midwife after my own experience of becoming a mother and feeling like there was something missing in the care that I received.
For her, it's all about building relationships with women over the course of their pregnancies.
To be able to help them bring to light what their goals are and help facilitate them reaching their health goals is really a wonderful thing to be able to participate in.
Then you can be with the baby in the nursery.
Teresa spent the evening touring North Memorial's birth center and asking as many questions as possible of the midwives to find out who she clicks with personality-wise.
Yep, and you want somebody in the delivery room that you're comfortable with too, so you can relax and as much as possible.
It's a big decision that she never considered during her first birth, in part because of a lack of education. Her advice to expectant mothers: do your homework.
Reading books and talking to people that have gone through it before can be really helpful.
In Robbinsdale, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
According to national statistics, midwives attended nearly 8% of all births in 2012. Coming up, an Armstrong teacher's way of using theater to tackle tough topics.
But first, we meet a pair of leaders from the Champlin Park football team. John Jacobson introduces us to them, coming up next in sports. a lot of height and good experience, and that's going to help you if you're a volleyball team.
And it's helped Hopkins so far, coming off a big win. The Hopkins volleyball team had a good weekend, winning the Eagle Invitational at Apple Valley High School. Jason Melillo visited the Royals and has this report.
Hopkins is riding high after beating Chaska and top-ranked Eden Prairie on Saturday to win the Eagle Invitational. The Royals lost to both of those teams earlier this season.
I think we knew what they could do, the other teams, and definitely our passing has gotten so much better. We've done nothing but get better since we played them, and we've been practicing hard. I think everyone is really improving a lot.
Coach Vicki Swenson has experimented with different lineups and had to deal with injuries to some of her key players this fall. But the Royals are pretty healthy now, and winning a tournament like the Eagle Invite could give them a boost going forward.
You can't get by with just 1 or 2 players or 3 players just playing hard and going after it all the time. You have to have 6 players on the court who believe that they can win. And we've said all along this year, we have 14 players on our team, and they each are able to contribute, and it was just a matter of finding the right combination.
I think that it was definitely a turning point. For moving forward, I think that we're only going to get better. Hopefully that was not the peak of the season, so that's just the beginning, hopefully.
Hopkins will host the tournament this weekend at the Lindbergh Center. The tournament environment is where the Royals want to play and where they think they need to play their best in order to prepare for the postseason. Jason Melillo, 12 Sports.
The tournament coming up Saturday is at the Lindbergh Center and will feature pool play in the morning and bracket play in the afternoon. The tournament championship that Hopkins has won drew some notice for the Royals statewide. They are now ranked number 4 in this week's state Class 3A poll behind Eden Prairie, Prior Lake, and Chaska. Hopkins received 2 first-place votes. Lakeville South rounds out the top 5. Then it's Egan, North St. Paul, Delano, Roseville, and Minnetonka. Osseo and Wayzata were the top 2 vote getters outside the top 10. Baltotino Grace and Champlin Park also received votes. Champlin Park's football team is 2-2 so far this season, and they play at unbeaten Elk River on Friday. This week's Sports Jam show here on Channel 12, we profile Rebels seniors Jack Darnell and Detrice Milsumo. Here again is Jason Melillo with a clip from that story.
Darnell is also a very good student, and next year will play football at North Dakota State University. The Bison are the premier program in the FCS, having won 3 straight national titles.
They just have truly amazing coaches, and it's an amazing atmosphere. I mean, I just went up there this past week, and I was amazed at the fan support up there. And I mean, I had a few offers from other places, but they don't necessarily win as much as NDSU, and I'm a guy that likes to compete, and I love winning, so that was definitely a big choice.
On the other side of the football, Champlin Park has a dynamic playmaker in Detrice Milsumo. In Week 3, Milsumo sparked the Rebels to a comeback win against Andover. Milsumo is only 5'7", but he plays with no fear and tries to use his diminutive stature as an advantage.
I focus on the things that the big guys lack. So I kind of focus on the things that can make me be a successful running back, and that's what I really key on.
Unfortunately, Jack Darnell broke his ankle during Friday's game against Maple Grove. You can watch the rest of the story on Detrice and Jack and much more on Sports Jam. It's on each Monday through Wednesday, 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. It's another busy week for our 12 Sports game crew as we bring you the best in fall sports coverage in the Northwest suburbs. Tuesday night, it's Northwest Suburban Conference Volleyball as Osseo hosts league newcomer Spring Lake Park. Watch it live on Channel 12 and 12.tv or catch the replays Wednesday night at 7 or Saturday morning at 10. Thursday, it's volleyball time again as Heritage Christian takes on Benilde St. Margaret's. You can watch it live at 7 o'clock Thursday or catch the replay Saturday afternoon at 4. And Friday night, we're in Brooklyn Center for the Centaurs football game against Spectrum. Watch it live at 7 o'clock. Or watch the replay Saturday night at 7 or Sunday morning at 10. A week full of sports again here on Channel 12.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Now to Local Vote 2014 as we continue our look at this week at candidates running for the Osseo School Board.
Today we'll hear from the only incumbent who is running, James Burgett, and candidate Pa Modu Ann.
My name is Pa Modu Ann. I am running for this Osseo Area School Board. I have lived in this district for over 14 years. As a parent of 3 boys, I am excited to have the opportunity to serve our children, school district, and community. The quality of relationship derived amongst these 3 important players is crucial in determining success and excellence. I want to create the conditions for all our children to maximize their potentials through the provisions of equal opportunity and equity, thus raising and closing the achievement gap. My quest is to leverage on our diversity as an asset to enhance the potentials of all our children. Please join me in making this a reality for our kids by voting for me for Osseo Area School Board. I thank you.
Hi, I'm Jim Brigette. I'm currently serving on the school board of District 279 Osseo Area Schools, and I'm seeking re-election this fall. I'll start with my background. I'm a senior principal design engineer for a local medical device company. My wife Carrie and I have 3 children. My 2 girls are currently attending district schools, and my son is a recent graduate. I've worked with the community on many issues, from prioritizing budget cutting to minimizing boundary changes. Our district is in the midst of some major initiatives, and I'm seeking re-election so that I can see these through to completion. My goal is to maximize student achievement while minimizing taxpayer expense. I sincerely ask for your vote on November 4th. And don't forget, vote Brigette. Thank you.
Coming up next, an Armstrong theater class turns into a powerful social lesson.
We'll show you how up next. Here are some views of the valley you don't see every day. Golden Valley's annual photo contest included a dragonfly looking for a strike by Jeff Lamberg, the overall grand prize winner. The city recently presented awards to residents who captured some of these compelling photos of people, places, and nature. And finally, an Armstrong teacher named Theater Teacher of the Year.
The Minnesota Educational Theater Association presented the honor to Kaya Peters-Hurt, an Armstrong grad herself. Ms. Peters-Hurt has been a teacher there for 5 years, and she says she aims to make theater educational in more ways than one.
I want to share with the kids the collaborative art of theater and the joy of growing, the joy of gaining confidence, the joy of sharing a moment with an audience, but I also like to spend some time with the issues that we're dealing with, and we picked a really powerful social piece.
In January, their one-act play tackled issues like what it means to be popular and body image, to even poverty and sweatshops. She hopes students continue conversations on social issues that began in theater class. And she says once they have confidence on stage, it also helps them in their other classes.
No doubt. I believe that.
Yeah,
I like that she's an Armstrong grad too, coming back to her school.
That's neat, isn't it? Congratulations to her. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you tomorrow at 4. Community Corner is coming up next.